I'm sorry, Mr. Rodriguez, but I've got to ask what happened.
Well, one of the things, I guess it doesn't look all that bad. He really was trying to get his life together, and he had left the gang, because that was one of the goals, too, was to get him to not get involved with the gang violence. What happened, it was nothing to do with a gang. It was what you would call a road rage incident. Even though my son left a lot of the stuff behind him, he still had a lot of rage. Unfortunately, because he had enemies, he had a gun that he had in his possession, which I always told him never have, especially when you're raging, because I know what that's like. First thing you're going to do is pick up a gun. And unfortunately, it was some truck driver pulled in front of him. There was words between them. According to the police report, my son got out of the car and shot the truck driver. Got back into the car. There was another guy with him, and they drove off. The police gave chase. And then the car turned around for some reason and started coming towards the police and shot at the police officers. Nobody was killed, fortunately. The police officers were not hit. The truck driver did get hit in the chest and survived. We actually got to meet him and talk to him to apologize to him, just because we felt bad about what had happened.
Mr. Rodriguez, what does that rage feel like?
It's a kind of a rage that I had as well. It's a blinding rage. It's a rage that comes from whatever traumas you might have gone through. Racism contributes to it. Poverty contributes to it. And then you live in an environment where you're getting shot at, people are chasing down the streets, gangs are organizing. Some of these kids don't know how to deal with that. And it takes time. I don't think it's something that anybody can learn right away. It took me many years, unfortunately, after I left the drugs and the gangs and not going to jail anymore. I ended up drinking for 20 years myself, and I think in many ways that was my way of dealing with the rage. So my son was barely beginning to get on with his life, and he would have to have dealt with his rage eventually. It just didn't happen fast enough.
In line with that, you have an utterly scalding poem that appears in this book, page 38. The poem is titled, is this the title? To the police officer who refused to sit in the same room as my son because he's a gangbanger.
Right. It's an angry poem.
Did this actually happen, Mr. Rodriguez?
Yeah, this actually happened at a radio station here in Chicago, and he was going to be on the air with us, and he called in his...
This is the police
comments.
officer.
Yeah, he called in his comments from a phone booth rather than to sit with us. And again, I think it's not... I don't want to say police officers are all like this. I'm trying to say there's a lot of people who do not know and do not want to know what's going on with these young people, and would rather walk away from it instead of sitting there and paying attention and learning, because I think we can learn a lot from them.
Could we ask you to read the
poem? How dare you? How dare you pull this mantle from your sloven sleeve and think it worthy enough to cover my boy? How dare you judge when you also wallow in this mud? Society has turned over its power to you, relinquishing its rule, turned it over to the man in the mass whose face never changes, always distorts, who does not live where I live but commands the corners, who does not have to await the nightmares, the street chants, the bullets, the early morning calls, but looks over at us and demeans, calls us animals, not worthy of his presence. And I have to say, how dare you? My son deserves to live as all young people. He deserves a future and a job. He deserves contemplation. I can't turn away as you, yet you govern us. Hear my son's talk. Hear his plea within his pronouncement, his cry between the breach of his hard words. My son speaks in two voices, one of a boy, the other of a man. One is breaking through, the other just hangs. Listen, you who can turn away, who can make such a choice, you who have sons of your own but do not hear them. My son has a face too dark, features too foreign, a tongue too tangled, yet he reveals, he truths, he sings your demented rage, but he sings. You have nothing to rage because it is outside of you. He is inside of me. His horror is mine. I see what he sees. And if my son dreams, if he plays, if he smirks in the mist of moonglow, there I will be, smiling through the blackened, cluttered, and snarling pathway toward your wilted heart. But, growing up, I had a lot of problems with police. 4 of my friends were killed by them. I was beaten by them. And I also know that just to be fair about it, I also hurt them and, didn't see them as anybody, that I would give them a proper due. So it was a war. We were caught up in it. I would rather see us have better relationships with police, but I can't see it unless there really is a sense of what is justice in our communities.
I mean, you know that to many police officers, they're particularly antipathetic towards gangbangers because they say that there's a terrible generalization, but they say essentially these gang members try and kill each other, and then they have policemen, family men, decent people who were brought in to try and break it up, and often wind up risking their own lives rather than actually being able to save somebody.
Yeah.
So they resent having their lives endangered by people who are just interested in
and I
shooting each
understand
other.
that, and I think there's a very good thing for all the rest of the community to be aware of. We're not doing police any justice by putting them in these battle zones either. Mm-hmm. Police can't do what mothers and fathers and schools and churches and other things should be doing. In many ways, the police are dealing with the back end of the problem when the kid's already raging, already has a gun in his hand, already is into the drug trade, and we want them to resolve the issues. This is why I say police and prisons can't be the solution for these gang youth. Mm-hmm. What they need is a lot more stuff on the front end. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot more social recreation, a lot more opportunities for them to become creative, to maybe get a job, a lot of more educational opportunities so they can really learn some skills and some knowledge and be able to overcome whatever poverty or issues they may have. But if we don't do that and then always say, okay, you police officers, you do it for me. I live in a gated community. I'm in the suburbs. I don't have to face this. You go to the inner city and you resolve these issues for me. We're setting up both the kids and the police officer.
Mr. Rodriguez, it's been a real pleasure to talk to you, sir.
Oh, it's been great for me, too.
Speaking with us from Chicago, Luis Rodriguez. His two most recent books are Crocio Mache, a book of poems, and a children's book called America Is Her Name.